It is exactly 3:44 in the morning, January 8th, 2004. A young woman is about to live a nightmare. On her phone, she has 2% battery left, and she is going to find herself trapped in a place that geographically does not exist. After that, she will never be heard from again. This story is not a Hollywood horror movie script. It is a raw, real, and terrifying archive of the web. The mystery of Kisaragi Station. Tonight we are heading to Japan, where we will try to relive this entire night of horror, minute by minute. Stay very attentive until the final seconds of this video, because what internet users discovered years later will completely shatter your vision of reality. Everything begins a few hours earlier, at precisely 11 o'clock at night. Hasumi, a completely ordinary Japanese student, boards her usual train on the Enshu line in the Shizuoka prefecture. It is a routine commute that she knows by heart. Travel time, about 20 minutes. Tired, she sits down by the window, puts her headphones on, and closes her eyes. But when she opens her eyes again, time seems to have glitched. She looks at her phone screen. It is nearly midnight. The train has been traveling for over an hour in a straight line at a crazy speed. And above all, it has not made a single stop. Hasumi begins to worry because she does not understand what is happening. She looks around the train car. There are several passengers, 5 in total, but their behavior is strange. They all seem to be asleep. Their heads move with the shaking of the train, but something is wrong. She tries to shake one by the shoulder. Nothing. The man remains expressionless, inert, as if locked in his sleep. Hasumi truly begins to panic. She takes out her phone and logs onto the famous 2chan forum, the Japanese equivalent of Reddit. At 12:14, she posts her first message. Something is wrong. My train has been running for an hour without stopping. Usually the trip takes 20 minutes. Does anyone know what is going on? At first, the mood on the forum is lighthearted. Users do not believe her. Some mock her. They write to her, "You drank too much after class. Go to sleep, you just missed your stop." Or even, "It's just an express night train. Stop trying to get attention." Hasumi stands up and moves forward slowly. She walks through the deserted corridors, arrives in front of the cabin door, and knocks on the glass. No response. Puzzled, she decides to knock harder. It is at this exact moment that the train brutally enters a massive unknown tunnel, where the train lights begin to flicker furiously. On the forum, users start to change their tone. The psychological atmosphere shifts from mockery to worry. Some begin researching the Enshu line. They claim there is no tunnel that long on this route. Hasumi feels trapped. At 2 o'clock in the morning, after dozens of minutes spent in the total darkness of the tunnel, the train suddenly brakes. The doors open. Hasumi, who was beginning to feel relieved, looks outside. There is no city, no neon lights, no life. Just a deserted platform plunged into a thick, freezing fog. She looks up at the station sign. It reads, Kisaragi Station. She types frantically on her keyboard to warn the forum. Users type the name into Google Maps and check railway archives across the entire country. The verdict is relentless. This station does not exist. Thinking she might find shelter or a public phone, Hasumi steps down onto the platform. The moment her feet touch the ground, the train doors slam shut behind her with a violent crash. The train leaves immediately at full speed, leaving the student completely isolated in this ghost station, surrounded by dark. In an attempt to find help, Hasumi decides to walk along the tracks to head back. That is when she notices gruesome details she hadn't seen from the platform. The wooden ties are stained with dark, dry patches resembling blood. Terrified, she decides to call her parents. The line miraculously connects, but the communication is a total failure. Her father's voice is distorted, chopped up by horrible electrical static, as if they were speaking across centuries of distance. Then the line suddenly cuts out. It is at this moment that a terrifying sound begins to echo through the entire valley. A heavy, rhythmic, throbbing noise. Traditional Japanese drums mixed with the ringing of bells, like for an ancestral funeral ritual. The sound, seemingly coming from the forest, gets closer to her. Suddenly, a voice breaks the silence of the night. Behind her, on the track, an old man appears out of nowhere. He only has one leg. He waves his cane and screams at her. Hasumi turns around to speak to him, but before she can even utter a word, the old man literally evaporates before her eyes. On Tushan, the forum is in a general trance. It is collective hysteria. Hundreds of users are connected live, eyes glued to their screens. They write to her in capital letters. Run from there immediately. Don't stay on the tracks. Hasumi runs until she's out of breath and finds herself on a completely deserted mountain road. It is 3:30 in the morning. Against all odds, a car appears in the distance and pulls up next to her. The driver rolls down his window. He smiles at her and says gently,
"Miss, you look lost and terrified. Get in, I will drop you off at the nearest station."
Hasumi grabs her phone and informs the forum that a kind soul has just stopped to save her, but the user's reaction is immediate and unanimous. Don't get in, it's a trap, but Hasumi is at the end of her strength. She ignores the forum's warnings and gets into the back seat. As soon as the door closes, the atmosphere inside the car changes completely. Hasumi asks him where they are going. No response. His eyes remain fixed on the dark road. She insists, raising her voice. The man completely ignores her questions, but his lips begin to move frantically. He begins to mutter strange prayers over and over on a loop. Suddenly, Hasumi freezes. A terrifying new sound fills the car cabin. Metal chains clanking heavily in the trunk. She looks out the window, but the car is driving deeper and deeper into a dense and suffocating mountain forest. At 3:44, her battery drops to 1%. She sends her final message, "I am going to try to jump." Then, nothing more. Total emptiness. After this message, the connection is cut off. Hasumi vanished from the face of the earth. The police would conduct searches in the region without ever finding the slightest trace of her. End of the story? Not quite, because in 2011, 7 years later, an incredible event would restart everything. A new message appears on the 2chan forum with the exact same credentials as Hasumi. She claims to have finally returned to our world. She explains that after jumping out of the car, she saw an intense white light before passing out. When she woke up, she was at Shizuoka Station. But for her loved ones, 7 years had passed, while for her, it had only lasted a few hours. Even today, the mystery remains complete. So the next time you take the night train, and the trip feels a bit too long, avoid sleeping between 2 stops.